guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be super interesting. I love making videos about TikTok and the TikTok algorithm and things like that because it's just so interesting to me. TikTok is a very unique social media platform in my opinion, and throughout the past few months I've learned quite a few things ever since starting my own TikTok account, which by the way, if you guys don't follow me on, you definitely should. I post so much on there, so if you want more videos from me, that is where you should definitely go. But recently I got a video that hit 1 million views, which is absolutely insane. My brain can't even comprehend how many views that is. Like, it's so strange to me, but because that video kind of hit quite a few views, and is obviously my first video or anything on social media to hit 1 million of anything, I have done quite a bit of research analyzing the analytics of that video and kind of trying to recreate certain trends of that video to see if maybe it was a fluke or if there were actually certain things that you could do to get your videos to do better on TikTok. So I've compiled a list of things that I have found that made that video do really well that I continue to do in my videos currently to help them do well. If you want a little bit more information on this, like after watching this video, if you want more tips, I did do a video that was how to blow up on TikTok a couple months ago, which will be linked, as well as on my podcast. I have an entire podcast episode about it, and I share ideas with my friend Olivia, who also has a TikTok account with videos who have blown up as well. So I will also link my podcast and that episode of it down below. We just talk all about blowing up on TikTok for like a solid hour. So if you want more tips and you still want to know more, you can go check that out. But that was a super long intro, so I'm gonna shut up now and we'll just get right on into the tips. Okay, so I am going to try to be making these tips as general as possible, so that whatever you post on TikTok, it can kind of be applicable to you. So for example, I post book related videos. I'm on like the book side of TikTok, but whether you post, I don't know, like what kinds of like comedy TikToks, TV show TikToks, whatever they may be, I'm going to try to make these tips as general as possible so that they can apply to you. So the first thing that I really noticed about this TikTok in particular is I hadn't seen any other TikToks like it. So if you guys don't know what this TikTok is, because I didn't actually play it for you, it was books that handled sensitive topics well. And I posted this back in June, and at that time I hadn't really seen any other TikToks on my For You page that, or on the book side of TikTok that were like that. I'm not saying I'm the first person to make a TikTok like that or anything, but at the time it wasn't super common. It wasn't like a trend or anything else. So coming up with original videos is really gonna help you out, because if people haven't seen that type of video before, they're gonna be intrigued and they're gonna watch a little bit longer, and a high audience retention is really good for the algorithm. But whereas if you're making a video that everybody else has made, then people might not watch as long because they're going to be able to kind of predict where it's going to end. People have very short attention spans on TikTok, so making sure that you are engaging your audience with some new content that they haven't seen before is going to really help you out. I actually kind of have a funny story about this, because when I was making this TikTok, I was trying to like come up with a way to like phrase the title, like books that handle sensitive topics well. I was like, books that handle sensitive issues. Like, I wasn't really sure how to phrase the title, and I was asking my mom, I'm like, Mom, what should I call this video? I have no idea. And she ended up helping me come up with the name. But I was like, eventually I got so frustrated, I was like, you know what, maybe I'm just gonna be like sad books or something like that, and like go reshoot it and like film something else, you know what I mean? Or like kind of like rebrand this into some other type of TikTok. And so my mom's like, no, like you gotta be different, you know what I mean? Like, that's so general, like be different with your TikToks and post something that people haven't seen before. And I was like, okay, fine. So I posted it and it blew up almost immediately, and I was so shocked by that. So that's kind of like, I didn't want to like be posting original content because I had ideas, but I was like, I don't know, what if people don't like it, or what if this is like people don't understand what I'm trying to say, and she's like, no, just like post it, you can always delete it or whatever. So I did, and I'm really glad that I did. So that's kind of the lesson, is like definitely try to branch out. Obviously there's nothing wrong, like you're not going to be able to be the first person to think of every single TikTok you make, especially with the amount of creators on this platform. However, trying to come up with your own original content every now and again is going to be really good. And also kind of like a little bonus tip, kind of like tip number 2, if you can't exactly think of original content every single time you want to post, try to think of a way to put an original spin on maybe a popular TikTok. And like I said, people have really short attention spans on TikTok, so if they think it's going to be the same as every video, then you are going to probably lose them. So try to show them that it's a little bit different very early on in the video. So for example, I'm gonna go to like the book side of TikTok to use a little analogy, but obviously this is applicable to any side of TikTok, like I said at the beginning. So I posted a video, this is another one of my videos that did well, and it was very popular, like YA, like young adult fantasy novels. And obviously I am not the first person, or even like the 100,000th person to post a fantasy recommendations video. Like I see them all the time, but what you need to try to do is maybe recommend some fantasy books that aren't super popular. So for example, if you're not on the book side of TikTok, you wouldn't know this, but like A Court of Thorns and Roses series and Throne of Glass, super popular young adult fantasies. So if you're making a video like that, maybe don't recommend like Avatar and Throne of Glass. Maybe recommend a super underrated young adult fantasy novel, and then people will be like, oh, maybe like this video looks like it's gonna be different, you know what I mean? And have that book that you are presenting that is like your underrated one, like very first, because then people will watch it for longer because they're like, oh, there's actually some new things that I haven't seen before. So that's kind of like my second tip, where if you don't know exactly like how to create original content, start out by taking content that you've seen and putting your own original twist on it, and I promise you that should help. My next tip is I'm kind of going in the opposite direction of what I said before, and this is to not be original. So obviously in terms of your content creation and the TikToks that you make, you should definitely be original. However, where you shouldn't be original is with the sound. Obviously there's nothing wrong with making your own original sounds for TikToks, especially if you are a music creator or something. Obviously then all your TikToks are gonna be original sounds, and that's like a totally different case. But if you're just making a video and you want some background music or something, get popular background music, especially music that Charli D'Amelio or any other famous creator like Addison Rae or whatever have used recently. Something that I noticed and I thought was super funny, and I've actually tested this out with other TikToks on my page. The more I talk, the more I realize my entire TikTok page is literally just an experimentation project. But I have experimented with this and I found it to be true. So if you look at the sound that I used for the video that got 1 million views, and you look at like the top posts for that sound, you see that Charli D'Amelio has used this audio, and she used this audio on May 26th, if I'm remembering correctly. It'll be on screen. And then I posted my TikTok that ended up doing very, very well on June 2nd, I want to say. So like very shortly after, only a couple days after she had used that audio. So obviously that really just shows that whatever audio that the popular creators are really using at that time, if you use that audio, you're more likely to get on the For You page. I don't know why that is. I have no explanation for you guys, but I have just noticed that to be the case time and time again. So obviously I will not just like use a popular creator's audio and have like no idea where I'm taking it. Usually what I'll do is if I'll come up with a idea for a TikTok that I know requires background music, like a lot of mine do, and if I don't have a sound like right there that I like want to use, I will generally go to like Charli D'Amelio's page and see if she has any sounds that she's used recently that fit the style of video that I'm making. Obviously don't just use the sound if it's not going to fit the video, because that makes absolutely no sense and it's not going to work. But if you have seen a sound that a popular creator has used that also is applicable to your video, definitely use it. It is super, super helpful in my personal opinion. My next tip, I think I'm on tip number 4, is an interesting one because it's one that I never have heard talk about, but I have definitely noticed a huge trend, like to the point where I can't even deny that this is helps your algorithm, because it has just happened to me so many times. Okay, I'm gonna explain. Your backgrounds make all of the difference, but your backgrounds have to change as like the time of year changes, which I know is super weird. So in the summertime, I was posting a lot of TikToks outside. If you notice, the one that got 1 million views, it was outside. And that's probably because I'm assuming in the summertime everyone's outside, and you know, it's just a very popular thing in the summertime to be outside and out in nature and things like that. So for some reason, the outside was a super popular background. I had lots of other TikToks around the same time period hit like 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 views, and they were all shot outside, weirdly enough. But as we're kind of transitioning to winter now, I actually posted a TikTok outside not too long ago, and it did not have the same effect whatsoever. And I definitely tried this a couple times because I'm like, you know, maybe that's just a fluke, but any videos that I post outside now generally don't do as well, and I think that's definitely because we are going into winter now. So now I film a lot more videos like in front of my bookshelf inside, and those tend to be the videos that do a little bit better. And then, you know, as Christmas time approaches, I remember last year on TikTok, kind of as Christmas time approached, a lot of videos near Christmas decor, in front of a Christmas tree. All of these things were super popular. So kind of, I again have absolutely no explanation as to why this works, but your background makes a huge difference. Not only does it need to be aesthetic and kind of fit your video's needs, however, it also needs to kind of fit the season that you are in. And this is definitely going to be something that you have to experiment with. I'm still experimenting with this because I don't know what the algorithm wants at all times, but it's definitely a cool experiment to do, and kind of once you figure it out, really try to post a lot of TikToks with that same background until you notice it's not working anymore. And then you gotta find the next one, which is kind of the interesting part, but it's fun. It's super fun getting to experiment with different backgrounds. I really like that. I find it super interesting to see like what people like one day, what they hate the next day, so I think it's super interesting and super fun to play around with, so give it a try. My next tip is kind of like, again, this is kind of like two tips that are a little bit blended together, but you need to get comments and you need to get shares. So those two things are super important to the algorithm. What's really important to the algorithm actually is like likes, comments, shares, audience retention, but comments and shares are kind of like your bigger one, and audience retention is probably next in the line of importance, and likes is probably the least important. That's just kind of what I found on my TikTok page, but obviously it might vary from person to person. But however way you want to look at it, comments and shares, super important. So how can you get comments? So I find that kind of making videos that people can leave an opinion on are super easy, because people are super like willing and easily like wanting to share their opinions. I didn't even ask for anyone's opinion on my video, but oh boy did I get it. With 1 million people seeing a video, there's gonna be people that disagree with me, so I got tons of people saying, I disagree, this didn't handle this well. And then people were commenting back at them and being like, no, I agree, it did handle it well. And like, I wasn't even doing anything, I was just watching people argue in the comments. I'm not saying you should create an argument in your comment section, but it's often why political TikToks do so well. So try to make it semi-arguable, a TikTok that's not just everyone's gonna agree to, because then you're not really gonna get people expressing their opinions as much. And again, I'm not saying go start a bunch of fights in your comment section for fun, but make it something that people can discuss. Make it a discussable topic where people can share their opinions on it and people can counter argue and things like that. And it's also super fun because I love getting to read all of those comments and being like, well, I didn't even think about it like that. That's a really good point. Things like that. And it gets you comments, it gets you on the algorithm, and you get to learn a lot of cool things. So lots of benefits. The other way that you can get comments is if your video is not super easily commentable on, like if it's not super like discussable, I guess if that makes sense, like what I talked about in my last tip, then you can ask a question in your caption. People are way more likely to comment if you ask a question. So for example, even on that one video, so it was arguable in some sense. I didn't intentionally make it arguable, but looking back it kind of was, I guess. But I also asked in the caption, you know, for people to comment more suggestions, and so many people did. That's where the majority of my comments came from. I don't remember how many comments that this video has, but it was like a lot, and people were commenting so many suggestions, which was super fun. And then a way that you can get shares kind of goes back, in my personal opinion, to my very first tip of making your video super unique and not super common, because if it is not super common and not everyone has seen a video like yours, they're gonna share it with your friends and be like, oh my gosh, look at this, like, did you think, you know what I mean? But if it's a video that, you know, everyone's kind of seen, then people probably aren't really gonna share it, because they've probably already likely either shared a video that was like that or had a video shared to them that was exactly like the one that you created. So that really comes back to trying to make your video super different, and it also comes back to making your video discussable, because if it's discussable, people will share it with their friends, and you know, their friends will like comment back and be like, no, I think this, and things like that. So shares are super important. I again don't really remember how many shares this video has, but it was like a ridiculous amount. I was so shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, what are y'all talking about my video? But yeah, so that's crazy. So the comments and shares, super important, and those are some of my top tips on how to get them. Alright guys, that is going to be all for this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it and that these tips were able to help you. That is just my personal experience of some of the main things that I found got my video to get 1 million views, and the tips that I still use in order to get my videos to get views today. So I really hope that this was helpful. Again, if you want more tips or you have more questions, either leave them down below, but make sure you check out my other video first, because I might have answered your question there, or go check out my podcast if you would like. It's a super fun listen, and also you kind of get like Olivia's perspective. She has a lot of tips as well that I didn't share in this video because they are her tips, but go listen to our podcast if you want to hear them. And yeah, I think that that's all I wanted to say, but I hope you guys all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!